the common thing that I hear about Dan Groves is he absolutely loved being a Colorado State Trooper. He absolutely knew what was on the line. How could he not? It would be ironic if it wasn't tragic that Dan was out there trying to help people, trying to save lives, trying to prevent the very thing that cost him his. And it would be a further tragedy if we didn't learn from what happened. And that morning I listened as troopers were stopping at car after car after car, at crash after crash after crash, partnering with our friends at the Department of Transportation, talking about the quickly deteriorating conditions. They were getting out. They were getting out to help. Dan was out there trying to help. In fact, he intentionally responded out to I-76 that morning because of deteriorating weather conditions. Driving a car, whether it's sunny or snowy, calm or windy, requires your highest level of care. There cannot be anything more important than what you're doing in that moment. Lives are at stake. Dan's life was at stake. And it's not about what the law says or doesn't say. It's about safety. It's about quality of life. And do the right thing because it's the right thing, not because it's against the law or allowed. Do it because it's the right thing. Because chances are you're going to know somebody eventually, if you don't already, that was impacted by a traffic crash. If you're lucky, they're alive. Right? We just lost somebody. It's really personal. It was personal before. We're literally dying trying to serve. Dan died trying to serve. And we're not going to stop, but we need your help. Saving lives on I-70, I-25, I-76 is not a Monday through Friday 8 to 5 job, and it's not only, we will not be successful if you're only relying on the Colorado State Patrol. It's got to be everybody. And the very finest of Colorado stepped up that day and tried to help Dan. Some of them wore this uniform, some of them wore clothes, everyday clothes, but they were there to help, and it means a lot. The conditions that we were experiencing on Wednesday, and it wasn't one or two or even three people, several people stopped. Truck drivers, drivers of cars, passengers, frankly the driver of the vehicle that Dan was helping, all got out and acted heroically, quite frankly, given the situation, to try to save Dan's life. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Dan. And truly what a remarkable man and Colorado State Trooper he was, and how he is a tremendous representative of what this organization stands for and does each and every day. He started with our organization just short of 12 years ago. He was a tremendous trooper. After he graduated, he was assigned first in Frisco, where frankly he learned how to work in the snow. That's what they do when you work in Frisco. His captain, his first captain, I've had the opportunity to have several conversations, described Dan as nonstop. It didn't matter, he went. If he was working, if they needed help, he went. After Dan got finished working in Frisco, he came to Denver, where he worked in our business intelligence unit. He had a background in computers. He helped there too. And in fact, I think it was really there where he got to know everybody in this organization. And he quickly had a reputation. When you needed help, just call Dan. And you couldn't even finish asking what you needed help with. Hey Dan, can you help me? Yes. We'll figure out what you need later. Just tell me when and where to be there. He worked at headquarters in that capacity for several years, and then got promoted and became a corporal out of our Weld County office in Greeley. I actually had the honor of being on the panel that interviewed him for that promotion, where I got to learn a little bit more about him. And I recall that interview, and one of the things that I remember is the pride he felt in being a part of this organization, the pride he felt in serving. One of the things that you hear a lot, specifically at the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial, is it's not how these people died, it is how they lived that makes them heroes. Dan lived every day like a hero, and so do they, and so do they. And so do the other 1,200 men and women that are part of this organization. And what this world just lost was an incredibly smart, talented, and dedicated man that chose a life of service to help make this place better. He was one of our very best, and he will be sorely, sorely missed at every level. And when you think about Dan Groves and the sacrifice that he made, think about that. Think about his legacy of service, and how that is embodied in every single member of this organization on every day, in every hour, in every minute.